Hey there everyone, AJ back again for the Mighty Glue Stick channel. I make videos about Dungeons & Dragons lore full-time and have a huge collection of videos for you to binge watch, and I upload 2 new videos per week with a live stream each week as well. If you like what I do, please consider becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button below, or backing me on Subscribestar or Patreon, where you can get access to all the scripts I write for these vids if you prefer to read what I'm saying. I also have a Discord server with an active community, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Go on, man. Give it a go. Hit the button. It won't hurt. Occasionally encountered in the Roran and Koya deserts, but much more widely known in the lush and wild interior region of Maztica. The Hakuna is a brass-scaled, leathery-winged predator that has a lion-like body just over 12 feet in length, weighing at least 700 pounds of solid, lean muscle. They're about 5 feet tall at the shoulder. The first impression one has when getting a clear look at a Hakuna is that this is a dragon crossed with a lion, and in the western lands of Toril they are known as dragones. They are an ancient species with a lineage connecting them with the true dragons, though it is so rare to get one of them alive in captivity to study and converse with that they remain one of the more mysterious branches of dragonkin. It is known that they have none of the elemental traits of true dragons, and their most formidable ranged attack is their roar, which is far beyond that of even the most mighty savanna lions. Their roar is so powerful it is also a hunting tool capable of stunning wild game just before the Hakuna strikes with deadly claws and fangs. Despite having fully functional wings, they are poor flyers compared to true dragons and wyverns, with flight sustained only for short bursts of up to 30 minutes at a time at most. Flight is a normal part of their movement though, and hunting practices, and they will favour lairs that are difficult to reach from the ground unless they happen to be raising their cub, in which case they take over the ground-based den of some other creature, so the offspring can move around without plummeting to their death.
Har du nogensinde overvejet at blive selvstændig, skabe en online forretning eller få nogle passive indtægter? Hvis ikke det er tilfældet, så er du bare tryk på skip nu-knappen af den her video. Men har du haft lignende tanker, så håber jeg, at du vil give mig 60 sekunder til at vise dig de 3 ting, som
Incidentally, Hakuna are not hatched with the ability to fly right away. Like birds, it takes time for their wings to grow large and strong enough, and even then, they can only manage a short glide for the first few months of their life. Thus, they hunt much like lions do, first taking a high survey of the area on the wing or going up to the top of treetops, then picking an ideal spot to stalk and then roar at their prey before pouncing on it and ripping its throat out or crushing the spine at the back of the neck. With particularly large prey, they can shred one or more of the creature's limbs to slow it down and weaken it with blood loss and stress before finishing it off at their leisure. They are intelligent predators, and they can speak both Draconic and the language of sphinxes, and if they're not particularly pressed for time, they will wound a large animal and drive it closer to their den before they finish it off, to save the effort of having to drag the body all the way back there. Though there are few other animals who will challenge a Hakuna for their prey, and they can eat in peace and quiet, they prefer to eat and then sleep and then eat some more, not gorge themselves and then sleep for many hours like lions do, because they prefer to keep lean and agile in order to make use of their wings, something lions don't have to concern themselves with. While lions are social, Hakuna are more like tigers in that they live largely solitary lives, only meeting others to mate and then living with their cub until they are independent. If you spot more than one adult in the area, you may actually be a little bit safer, as they will be more concerned with each other than they are with you, but caution is highly advised anyway. Their mating season is late in the autumn. If you spot 2 of them outside of the mating season, you're in serious danger. They do lay eggs, and lay only 1 egg at a time. The cub is raised by the mother for a year, at which point they will become too hostile to each other to stay together. Male Hakuna are always very hostile towards each other. They will never willingly share the same hunting territory. Female Hakuna have a hunting range of 85 miles from their den, while the males have a range of 186 miles. This range will obviously overlap with a number of female Hakuna in the prime habitat region, which will include warm forests to tropical jungles featuring hills and valleys as well as desert areas they prefer, though not open sand dune areas, they prefer broken desert. The fact that they can speak the language of the Sphinx may just be because they share a lot of the same territory, or there could be a deeper connection. It's not well studied by sages either way. Dragons have proven to be very dangerous to study in the wild and become insanely aggressive in captivity. They prefer herd animals, like goats, for food. They will target easier prey than humanoids 100% of the time if there is a choice between the two. To quote from the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition Monstrous Manual, Dragons are not necessarily aggressive towards strangers, and the creature's reputation as a mindless devourer of helpless travellers is more the product of ignorance than well-established fact. Dragon will always attack any creature that invades its lair or threatens its territory. This means that adventurers who stumble across a dragon's cave and go inside, or settlers who decide to camp out or build in a dragon's territory, are often subjected to fierce and immediate attack. Creatures not threatening the dragon's lair or simply passing through its territory are usually left alone. Though the dragon's intelligence is low, it can tell the difference between a harmless traveller and a potentially troublesome settler or adventurer. The creature has not been featured in any Dungeons & Dragons monster manuals since 3.5 edition, and we have yet to see an official version for 5th edition. However, there are some pretty good homebrew listings on D&D Beyond. This one here is by Dan the Lazy. In my opinion, it's the best so far, though I suggest swapping the ground and flying speeds around. The Dragon can move at 40 feet per round on the ground, but only 30 feet per round in the air. They count as a large monstrosity. They are of neutral alignment. They have a natural armor class of 15 and up to 117 hit points. Stat-wise, 18 strength, 15 dexterity, 16 constitution. Intelligence of 6 is too low. I think 7 reflects them just being a bit higher than animal level. Wisdom of 13 and charisma of 12. That charisma is a bit high. They are impressive creatures, but their roar does all the work intimidating other creatures. Plus 6 on strength saving throws, plus 6 to athletics, plus 4 to stealth, and plus 3 to survival all make perfect sense. 60-foot dark vision, advantage on perception checks involving a keen sense of smell, and a passive perception of 13 could be higher. They are noted as having quite large eyes, much larger than a lion. Overall challenge rating is 4. As a single predator encounter, it all comes down to that first couple of rounds, as this creature's not going to last against your average adventuring party. The Hakuna has a pounce attack ability, so if it moves at least 20 feet straight toward a creature and then hits it with a claw attack on the same turn, that target must succeed on a DC 14 strength saving throw or be knocked prone. If the target is prone, the Dragon can make a 1-bite attack against it as a bonus action. It makes sense that this would also include moving 20 feet through diving from the air. In combat, it makes 1 claw attack and 1 bite attack, plus 6 to hit, 2d8 plus 4 slashing damage with a claw, and 2d6 plus 4 piercing damage with a bite, which reflects how big and vicious those bites and claws are. Its roar could traditionally be used up to 3 times per day in older editions, but it is a recharge ability for the 5th edition version, recharging at the start of the round on a roll of 5 or 6 on a 1d6. And I quote, "A dragon can loose a devastating roar. All creatures except dragons within 120 feet must succeed on a DC 11 wisdom save or become frightened for 1 minute. A frightened creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Those within 30 feet who fail the save also become deafened. And bear in mind, saving against this doesn't make you immune to that effect later on. As scary as a large dragon lion sounds, a pride of lions attacking together is actually far more deadly in 5th edition D&D, as groups of monsters can simply deliver far more damage per round than any single foe. So be very careful when increasing the numbers of Hakuna in an encounter, and there will have to be a pretty good reason why there is a group of them in that location in the first place. The pelt of the Hakuna is highly valuable. The further away you can find a buyer from where they are more commonly heard of, the better. The pelt is very hardy, staying in good condition longer than a lion pelt, and of course is a fair bit larger than even a tiger skin. Plus the mane is quite coarse, more like it was made out of a cat's whiskers than its fur. The Hakuna mane would make a number of exceptionally valuable and exotic hairbrushes, combined with ivory handles carved in the likeness of the creatures. There are a few taxidermied dragons to be found in the homes of wealthy nobles of Arm, and probably 1 or 2 live dragons available for sale in the city of Calimport, where it is said you can buy just about anything if you have enough coin. Please hit the like button if you made it this far. Subscribe if you like what I do. Check out my Subscribe Star or Patreon links for all the full scripts for these videos. Buy some Teespring merchandise. Wear your geek with pride. And as always, thanks for listening, and I'll be back with more for you very soon. Hey there everyone, AJ back again for the Mighty Glue Stick channel. I make videos about Dungeons & Dragons lore full-time and have a huge collection of videos on monster ecology, fantasy world history, cosmology, character classes and magic items on my channel. If you like what I do, please consider becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button below or backing me on Subscribe Star, where you can get access to all the scripts I write for these vids if you prefer to read what I'm saying, as well as behind the scenes content I'll be uploading there. I also have a Discord server with an active community, and of course, subscribe to me here for 2 video uploads per week and a live stream every weekend. Oozes! Space oozes. An intelligent and benevolent civilization of otherworldly oozes? A technologically advanced, benevolent civilization of oozes that is ancient.
Choose your best champions and put them to the test. Fight alongside your clan in epic boss battles.
Maybe a little help over here?
Nah, sorry man, not my turn.
Dude, seriously?
Turn-based combat. Look man, you know how this works. You go.
Hey there everyone, AJ back again for the Mighty Glue Stick channel. I make videos about Dungeons & Dragons lore full-time and have a huge collection of videos on monster ecology, fantasy world history, cosmology, character classes and magic items on my channel. If you like what I do, please consider becoming a member of the channel by clicking the join button below or backing me on Patreon, where you can get access to all of the scripts I write for these vids if you prefer to read what I'm saying. I also have a Discord server with an active community, and of course, subscribe to be here for 2 video uploads per week usually, and a live stream every weekend. As an adventurer makes their way into the wilderness, there are many types of terrain to be wary of. Deep and ancient forest, which has high cliff faces or isolated mountain peaks, waterfalls, and is often clouded with mist, is likely to be home to some of the most dangerous types of dragon, as both black and green dragons favour these sorts of environments. 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons tells us that the forest-loving green dragons sometimes compete for territory with black dragons in marshy woods and with white dragons in subarctic taiga. However, a forest controlled by a green dragon is easy to spot. A perpetual fog hangs in the air in the legendary green dragon's wood, carrying an acrid whiff of the creature's poison breath. The moss-covered trees grow close together except where winding pathways trace their way like a maze into the heart of the forest. The light that reaches the floor carries an emerald green cast, and every sound seems muffled. At the centre of its forest, a green dragon chooses a cave in a sheer cliff or hillside for its lair, preferring an entrance hidden from prying eyes. Some seek out cave mouths concealed behind waterfalls, or partly submerged caverns that can be accessed through lakes or streams. Others conceal the entrance of their lairs with vegetation, fallen logs and timbers. In the Impultur region of northern Faerun, bordering the Sea of Fallen Stars, the Grave Forest nestles between the coast and the Earthfast Mountains, which is home to a lone conical volcanic mountain peak in the southernmost end of the range called the Fang and the Forest. I'll be talking about who lives there at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Green dragons, also known as forest dragons, are damn near impossible to sneak up on, thanks to their connection to birds and rodents within a full mile of their lair. As the adventurers approach its domain, they might see birds that will fall silent and just stare at them in a very steady and malevolent way. Game trails of larger animals will veer away from that region, and no deer or boar will willingly go any closer. Trees will grow thickly together. The paths through them will twist and turn and become narrow like a maze with many pathways leading to a centre. Many green dragons cultivate a closer connection to the Feywild, so encounters within the thick woods may involve the unseelie fae. Water in the area close to the green dragon's lair will probably have an unpleasant taste at best, and at worst be poisonous. Although green dragons might not be the most powerful of the dragons, they have a drive to dominate that goes beyond most others, and they have an innately deceptive and manipulative nature that is particularly dangerous to intelligent humanoids. Forest dragons have a reach that spreads wide. They have talons in many pies, many pots on the boil. They love intrigue, and lying is more comfortable for them than is telling the truth. But they will use the truth as a weapon and means to torture and torment whenever it suits them. They're good at double dealing and find a double cross as delicious as a good meal. Duplicity is not just their nature and their hobby, it's their means of survival and the measure of worth among their own kind, as we shall discover. A female green dragon finds lies, deception and trickery attractive qualities, and as much as the pranks and outright attempts at getting her murdered might enrage the female, she will respect the other dragon's game when it comes to time to either accept a mate or fight one. There is a certain, letting them live so she can get revenge on them factors into the courtship. It is what it is, but the important thing to take away from it is this. A band of adventurers might end up marching into a female forest dragon's lair with the intent of killing her simply because a male forest dragon manipulated them into going there. You see, the adventurers are essentially a murderous box of chocolates he is sending to his crush. Dragons who suspect that a foe is an even match for them are extremely deadly. They don't like to take on a chance of an even fight, green dragons particularly so. They will throw everything they have at the adventurers, hopefully killing them before they get anywhere near. Green dragons will employ mind-controlled minions, trapped and desperately hungry predators, traps designed to inflict serious harm and horror, and of course narcotics, illusions and other magics designed to confuse, frighten and turn their enemies against each other. Green dragons, as I pointed out, like to keep an eye on their domain, and in the lair they will be watching adventurers and their minions like a hawk. They trust no one and have multiple applications to deal with contingencies such as the party reaching a point where they decide to split up and investigate two identical paths ahead, which the dragon has laid out for them. When they meet back up, an illusion spell has snapped into effect just a second before they lay eyes on each other, and now they appear like mind flayers or Nyogi or something most likely to be attacked on sight. Wise adventurers will go into the lair with code words to identify themselves, but as soon as the dragon hears one of them, it will switch tactics, possibly just gassing the whole lair, minions included. Life is cheap to the chromatic dragons. All others exist for the green dragon's purposes and amusements, but more on its lair tactics and manipulations later in this video.
You'd heard of Zodiac Killer. You'd heard of Son of Sam. The Golden State Killer is one of the most prolific, violent, serial rapists, and eventually a murderer.
And the tragedy of this case to me is that it's not better known.
Patton Oswalt, sitting here with the lovely and intelligent Michelle McNamara, my wife and creator of one of the best written and creepiest crime blogs on the web.
I just obsessed over it.
Green dragons lay their eggs after about 4 months of a 16-month incubation period. They lay clutches of 3 to 5 eggs with an average of 2 to 4 hatching successfully under optimal conditions. Forest dragons begin life either buried under wet piles of leaves exposed to rainfall or sitting in a shallow pool of acid. They are watched over by both parents who spend about as much time suspiciously watching each other, but the bond is strong. When they hatch, elemental power can be seen surging in the region,